cheating on a wife because her husband wants her to. No! For the last time, Ryan, I won't do it. Come on, Tiffany, how do you know you won't like it? It doesn't matter if I like it or not, Ryan. I'm not doing it, and that's final. I got up off the couch, ran upstairs to my bedroom, and slammed the door behind me. Then, because I was so angry, I turned around and locked the door and went and threw myself on the bed. I heard Ryan coming up the stairs, and then I heard the doorknob banging as he tried to open the door. Come on, Tiffany, open the door. No, Ryan. Go sleep in the spare room until you learn to appreciate me for who I am instead of trying to make me into something I'm not and don't want to be. The door rattled a few times, and I covered my head with a pillow to muffle his pleas. Eventually, he gave up and left. I undressed, put on my nightgown, and tried to sleep. Ryan and I met in college, fell in love, and married shortly after graduation. We were both virgins when we approached the marriage bed, and the early years of our marriage were filled with sexual experimentation. We loved sex with each other and did it like rabbits. For the first year or so, it was positions. We tried sex in every conceivable and not so conceivable position. One night he asked me if I was ever going to try to reciprocate him. A few months went by during which we discovered the 69, and one day Ryan asked me if I wanted to try other sex. My initial reaction was, no way. But Ryan kept urging me until one day I said I would try it at least once. Ryan had apparently read up somewhere on the best way to do it. Eventually, no pun intended, I learned to love it, and it became a regular part of our sex life. Then came a phase that I call Ryan's weirdness. He wanted to try what he called water sports, and eventually talked me into lying on top of him while he was in the tub. Then Ryan decided to mess with me. Before that, we were just trying to explore our own sexuality. His next bright idea was to get someone else involved. Specifically, he wanted to watch me have sex with another man while he hid in the closet. I blew up at him and our house got very cold. But even though Ryan was getting the cold shoulder from me and very little sex, he still kept pushing me to expand our sexual horizons. I put up with this for almost 3 months before I finally decided to give him what he wanted, but not necessarily in the way he expected. There was silence at the table during breakfast. I sipped my coffee while reading the style section of the newspaper. Across from me, Ryan was eating his toast while flipping through the sports pages. I set the paper aside and cleared my throat. Ryan, I've decided to do what you want, but only under certain conditions. Conditions you'll have to agree to and fulfill without question. Since you expect me to grovel for your pleasure, to ignore my wedding vows, to be unfaithful and basically turn into a cheater for you, then I think it's only fair that you grovel in return. I'll go out, play the cheater, pick up a man, and bring him home. But no matter what I do, and no matter what he does to me, you will stay in the closet and never let a man know you are there. Second, when he is done with me and leaves, you will clean me. If I do what you want and you don't fulfill either of those conditions, our marriage is over. Do you understand? Are you serious? Are you really going to do this? As long as you accept my terms. It's a done deal, baby. When are you going to do it? Tonight, Ryan. I want to get this over with. I'll stop by the salon on my way home from work, pick someone up, and bring them home. The cue to get into the closet will be the sound of the garage door opening. Do you understand the terms? No problem, baby, no problem at all. Since you're in a good mood this morning, how about some quick sex before we head off to work? No thanks. I'm going to save myself for my new lover. That statement hurt him, and I saw the first droplets of doubt appear on his face. You can call me any time before 5 if you decide you want to call this stupid thing off. Think it over carefully, Ryan. What you decide could cost you your marriage, and I'm not in the least bit insulting to my ego when I say I highly doubt you'll ever find another one like me when I'm gone. Come on, Tiff. Don't sound so gloom and doom. Everything will be all right, you'll see. That will depend on you, Ryan, and how well you fulfill my conditions. Fail to fulfill any of them, and it's over. I fully expected Ryan to call me and cancel the whole thing. After a day of deliberation, Mr. Manly Man must have decided that there was no way he was going to stoop to me after another man used me as a cheater. But even if he convinced himself he could do it and didn't call to cancel, I was sure he'd jump out of the closet when I brought a man into our bedroom. And finally, I knew for a fact that he would flat out reject me when it was over. Would I really abandon him if he didn't fulfill any of my conditions? No, but I'd have all the ammunition I'd need the next time he wanted me to do something. You know, sorry, Ryan, you backed out of your last deal, so never again. 5 o'clock came and went without a phone call, so I closed my desk and headed to Riley's bar, where I knew I could find exactly the man I was looking for. My requirements were simple. The man had to be taller than Ryan, good-looking, and one other special quality. I purposely dressed to attract attention, and I wasn't disappointed when I walked into Riley's. Eyes turned and didn't take their eyes off me as I wiggled my ass and walked over to a bar stool and sat down. My short skirt pulled up and showed a lot of leg, and my 5-inch sandals showed off my calves to their best advantage. Looking around the bar, I spotted at least 6 men who met my requirements, and in less than 5 minutes, one of them appeared at my elbow. There aren't many like you here. But I bet the ones you see come here for the same reason I do. You don't waste much time, do you? No, when that time could be spent on other, far more interesting things. I suppose the next question is it your place or mine? I think mine. I may seem a little cavalier to you, but I'm new at this, and I think I'd be more comfortable in my own surroundings. Lead on, fair lady. I'm willing to follow you anywhere. It was dark when I pulled up to the house, and I didn't see Ryan's car when the garage door opened. Had he chickened out or moved the car so my gentleman wouldn't see it and be surprised? If he chickened out and it wasn't in that closet, I will be very angry. The dark maroon Mercury pulled up behind me, and my lover got out of the car. I walked him into the house and, turning to him, said, "No names, okay? Just 2 ships sailing past in the night, never to see each other again?" "Yes, if that's what you want." I looked up at him and said, "Kiss me." I had no doubt Ryan would run out of the closet as soon as the man entered the room. He wrapped his arms around me. His lips met mine. I ran my tongue over them and gave him the hottest, most passionate kiss I was capable of. He returned it with redoubled vigor, and I felt my knees go weak. We stood like that for several minutes, neither of us wanting to break the kiss, and I felt his dignity resting against my leg. Finally, I had to pull us apart. I took his hand and led him up the stairs to the bedroom, and as we walked through the bedroom door, I braced myself for what I knew was going to happen next. It was going to happen, because that's what I had planned for. Ryan was a Southerner, born and raised, and he didn't need other men. Not at all. Riley's bar was in what was called Darktown, and the man I had chosen was at least 64 years old and had skin the color of coal. There was no way Ryan was going to let this man woo his wife, but no one was in any hurry to come out of the closet. Okay, all we had to do was seduce him. I moved into the arms of my chosen one again, and we spent another 2 minutes in a passionate kiss. Ryan was still gone. Okay, I'd only increased the tension. I stepped back and very slowly and sensually undressed until I was in heels and just my swim trunks. "Okay, passing ship, your turn." He smiled and undressed much faster than I did, and then appeared before me in all his muscular, naked glory. My breath caught when I saw his body. I silently prayed for Ryan to come out and save me. In a soft voice, the man said, "I know what you're thinking, but don't be afraid. You can do this." I froze. I stood there looking at my lover, and I was scared. He stepped forward, picked me up in his arms, and carrying me to the bed, said softly, "I'll be gentle, sweetheart." As he sat me down on the bed, I cast one last glance at the closet, and the look on my face literally screamed, "Ryan, get out of here and stop this!" And then the man had sex with me. I was an absolute cheater to my lover. I gave myself to him completely and lost count of how many times he had sex with me. All I know is that when we were done, I looked at the clock and saw that it was almost 5 in the morning. Good God, we'd been at it for almost 10 hours. Leaning on my elbow, I watched my lover get dressed, and as he headed for the bedroom door, I said, "Hey, passing ship." He turned and looked at me, and I said, "I don't know if I can even walk today, but same time and place tomorrow." He smiled, gave me a courteous bow, and said, "Your wish is my command, my lady." Before the front door had even closed, a pale, shaking, and sweat-drenched Ryan jumped out of the closet and stared at me lying on the bed. The poor guy had met my condition of staying in the closet no matter what, even at the cost of humiliation. 10 hours in a closet he dared not leave, not even to go to the bathroom. He spent in his pants. "Go take a shower, Ryan. Your wife will still be here waiting for you when you get back." He stared at me and started to say something, but I interrupted him. "Go take a shower, Ryan. You still have a condition to fulfill." He stared at me for a few more moments, and then turned and headed for the shower. 5 minutes later, he came back into the room and stared at me again. "How could you do that to—" I interrupted him again. "Fulfill the second condition right now, Ryan, and we'll talk later. Fail to fulfill it, and we'll have nothing more to talk about." He stared at me, but then I saw the defiance go out of him, and he slid down onto the bed. "What do you want first, sweetheart?" "What do you mean?" "The condition was that you had to wash my body. What do you want first?" "You can't be serious. You can't expect me to do that." "You got what you wanted, now fulfill the condition or get out." He threw me a pleading look, which I ignored, then muttered, "Front first." I sighed and said, "I hope that was everything you were hoping for, Ryan, because it's going to happen a lot from now on." His head jerked up and he stared at me. "That's right, honey. It's going to happen a lot. An awful lot. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you."